Chumash from Rameir Simcha Medvinsk from Meshach Chochmah. And it's famous that he wrote this, so he predicted the Holocaust in Germany. He didn't write it as a prediction, but in his pshat, he just, we'll talk about it for a second, where is it? It's a pasuk. The pasuk says like this, at the end of the day Chacham, and Hashem warns us what will be if we don't keep the Torah. V'af gam zois v'yoisem be'eretz oivei. So Rashi says like this, what's v'af? Also, even though I'm going to make with them all of this paronius, all this tragic punishments, when they're in the land of their enemies, but loima astim, they were not by me an abomination. They were not by me something ma'us, something loima astim. They were not despicable. Lechaloisom, I will not destroy them. I did not treat them as something, an abomination that we want to uproot and destroy. Loima astim lechaloisom. And to uproot my bris which I made with them. Because this is a haftocha, that the Goyim say, whatever the Christians say, the Jews were sinned, and Hashem chose us instead. He rejected Yaakov and he chose Esau. So the pasuk says, Loi ma'astim, afgam zois, even when they'll be punished. V'yoisam beretzoveim, the Torah says, I still love them. Loi ma'astim v'loi ga'altim. I didn't shoot them. Ga'altim, this is how the Meshach Chochmah explains, ga'altim is a language to spit out. I didn't spit them from place to place. Although he did. We see right away. L'chavloisam, in order to destroy them. L'hafid brisi yitam. I'm not being uprooting my bris. Ki ani Hashem Elokehem, I am forever their Hashem. The bris that I made, that's for Netzach, and that's why there'll be a Gula Shleima Yitz Hashem. That's why Mashiach has to come. The Meshach Chochmah says like this: if one looks and analyzes the history of Klal Yisrael and the Golus, one can see that it's like a repeat performance. They come to a place, and they first have to run away from one place, like for example Gerish Sfar, rejected from a country, and they forget in that process, they forget all their Torah, they forget everything, and they have to come to another land, like happened after the Holocaust, and they have to begin again from scratch. They don't, everything's forgotten, all their Torah, and they have to rebuild their mostot. And then when everything is suddenly rebuilt and flourishing, and again, after 200 years or so, again, they are persecuted and have to go into flight, and everything's destroyed, and they go to another country and rebuild again. And so this process is, as if you look at the history of the Jews through the Golus, repeated itself over and over again. So what's the reason for this? So he explains like this. Now, from here on, it's my words, but this is the gist of what he's trying to say, I think. There's a competition, a natural competition between the generations. Father and son, maybe not consciously, but unconsciously are in competition. There's a competition. How do they say in the Western world? Progress. For the American, we're progressing. Like as the past generations, they didn't have a computer that can press a button and everything. They didn't have internet. As technology is proceeding, and we are better than them. They were primitive and tipshin. As the generations get further, evolution, it evolves more. It goes on and gets better. But Ad Torah says exactly the opposite. We say, Im Rishonim Kim Alochim. If we look at the first generations as angels, then perhaps we can relate to ourselves as human beings. And if we don't have the ability to understand what an angel is, and therefore to understand what the first generations is, so we say the first generations were people. What do you mean? Everybody's a person, all right? But then we have to know that we are compared to them like donkeys. And then the Gemara goes on to say, and not like the Chamor of Pinchas ben Yoel. Pinchas ben Yoel had a Chamor when they gave him something to eat which wasn't, he didn't eat it. So he said, check if you meiser it. Maybe you didn't take Maaser. So he didn't eat it. He says, we're less than the Chamor of Pinchas ben Yoel. We won't check if it's gemeiser or not. I'll call upon him. So, but on the other hand, Hashem created man outside of just this point of competition. One more point. Man has a need to express his ego in something new, creativity. A need, in Hebrew you say, a need for chidush. Creativity, to create something. In this way, if he has something new that the other one doesn't have, so he's better, he's better, he understands something. The son wants to see that he understands something, is more successful in something than his father. And where the son has a father that he can't find anything where he feels his own identity, where he has something that father can't offer, he's in danger. Because how's he going to feel his ego? At the time of the Beis HaMikdash, the way Hashem made a person of a push, a force of creativity, had a natural outlet. The Sanhedrin had a power to make takanot. So they made a new takana which didn't exist before. When there was nevuah, the Navi through nevuah could be oiker dova min ha-Torah. He could remove something from the Torah, not forever, but horat shah. He can make a gzar din to his generation, or at a certain time. So there was chidush. There was in the power of Torah chidush. But after the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, there is no Sanhedrin. How did the Chassam Sofer coin the coin Chodesh also min ha-Torah? There is no outlet for chidush. The only thing that you can say a chidush in Torah, if you say a real chidush in Torah, if it wasn't said in Har Sinai, it's not worth anything. A chidush in Torah doesn't mean to create something that wasn't there. Everything was given to Moshe Sinai. You can only, chidush means it's relative, that someone doesn't see it at the time. You have to come to it with yigiyah. You have to come with Amela Shel Torah, with effort to reveal it. What's not revealed at first chidush is all relative to each person. So there is no place for chidush in the Torah. So where's the chidush going to get? So what happens is, when the Torah gets to its pinnacle, the only chidush that you can make is the opposite. To begin criticizing the past generations and questioning if the values that they gave over are true. And that's what gave birth, and that's what he speaks about in Germany. So one begins questioning, and Bible critics, was the whole Torah given to Moshe Rabbeinu, or was it not given to Moshe Rabbeinu? And one begins questioning what one got from one's parents and going to do new ways. So one goes to the university. Maybe there's more chacham in the university, and that created Haskalah. And the Haskalah began in Germany. And one begins thinks that Berlin is Yerushalyim. And instead of seeing oneself as a Jew, one sees oneself as a citizen of the country. When that happens, HaKodesh Baruch Hu sends a ruach, comes and reminds the Jew, begins persecution, and Hashem reminds that he's a Jew, and he has to run away, and everything's forgotten, and then again one begins from scratch. So in this way, he explains that specifically, that's what the Pasuk is saying. The Pasuk is saying like this. It fits with Rashi, it's even the simple pshat of the Pasuk. I was moyestem. I made that the Jew sees that the guy sees the Jew as something despicable. I did spit them out. But you know why I did it? Not because I want to destroy them. But to the contrary. I didn't do it but specifically through this process, it is through this miraculous way that Torah has not been forgotten and I remain through 2,000 years on Yeshem HaKodesh. Specifically through this process. Because the process of making everything forgotten and then renewing again opens up the way for the competition of the generations, where the new generation has something to offer. Similar to this is almost in the Furisha Gemara. The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, Daf Hey, the Gemara says, Machzik Toiva to our fathers. Let's be Machzik Toiva to our fathers, that they sinned. Because if they wouldn't have sinned, we have to have gratitude to our fathers for having sinned. So says the Gemara. We have to have gratitude. Why? Because if they wouldn't have sinned, it says when Am Yisrael received the Torah, they were on the level of the first man before the sin, and they wouldn't die. Now picture that we would come to this world, and there'd be in this world Moshe Rabbeinu and Rabbi Akiva and all the past generations. Where would we be? What would Rabbi Foreman do? We have such a yeshiva? I don't know what. And there'd be such big. How could we feel that we have something? We would be, Rashi says, we would be Kemisha Einai. The ego would have no outlet, we feel nothing. And a person needs to feel that he's something. So he says, let's be Machzik Toiva to them, because this way they die, and we can be something. Gemara, unbelievable Gemara. That's written in the Gemara. A person needs to be something. And this need to be something, this created apocosis. That's where apocosis is coming from. Because it's a strange phenomenon, apocosis. This is one of the whole movement of a scholar in Klal Yisrael is from the need to create. The person has to know that. The need to create can bring a person, in what we call for Chiddush, a novel idea, can bring a person either to, it's easier to create falsehood than to create something true. To say a Chiddush in Torah is very difficult. You have to learn very hard to say a Chiddush in Torah to reveal something which is correct. But to come and question and destroy, to create through destruction, and just put a question mark on all the previous generations, it's much simpler. And so Hashem made, so he says, when the generation before is ignorant, so then it's easier to build. So Hashem makes the Torah be forgotten, and then this, paradoxically, the forgetting of the Torah, this is the preservation of Torah in Am Yisrael. This is why, because we see the unbelievable, all the ancient ideas and civilizations are all born from the world. There's nothing remaining of them. And the Torah stands the way it is. We haven't in 2,000 years the same Abaye, Rava, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Yehuda, the same thing. I always say that the Gemara is something fascinating. I don't think there's anything as accurate of history preserved than our Talmud and our Torah Shebal Peh. It's as if the Chachamim took conversations which took place. It's a tape recorder of conversations that took place 2,000 years ago, and they were put in deep freeze, and they're preserved as they were, exactly. There isn't such accurate history in the whole world. There isn't such an accurate history from 4,000 years ago. The exact way he asked them a question and he answered it, and even jokes on the side what they answered. Yesterday was a Gemara on Daf Yomi, almost a little bit. He said the Rebbe says, the father says to his man, Tarda, imbecile. Tarda is imbecile. Imbecile. Ishtabashta, you're krub. Ishtabashta. There was a Gemara a few weeks ago. Rish Lakish was laying on his stomach, and he asked the Shaila, Shochiv Rish Lakish Amayu, they made him Ratzim Lama Boyim. What are they coming for? The Gemara has messages of these things too. This is the Torah wasn't forgotten, and we learn, and the Rishonim were medactic in the oral Torah as well. On every letter you have when you learn Gemara, you have the Hagoyis HaBach, the same Bach that from one aspect wrote on the Torah on all the halachas of the Torah, the most complicated subjects, and the same Bach that's busy with the halach of the most complicated subjects. In the Gemara, he's busy. Here you have to add a base, and here you have to be meichik, you have to erase the mem. It's unbelievable. Lam and Nikra Shmam Seifrim. Why would Yerushalyim called Seifrim? You see that? Because they would count the Oisius of the Torah. But now our Poskim didn't just count the letters of the Torah, they counted even the letters of the oral Torah, not just the letters of the Gemara, the letters of Rashi, and the letters of Tosfos, and the letters. So the Bach that's busy with the most deep concepts of the Gemara, he's busy as well to notice if here there's a mem that's extra, or you have to add a mem. It's unbelievable. Not a big thing and not a small thing of the Torah. And this is it. And this Mesiras Nefesh to bring us down exactly this itself, there isn't anything comparable. This is an ois on the truth of our Torah. The very fact that the Torah in such a diktuk, such a complicated sefer, with all its halachas to be learned, is all here in detail, exactly. And such Mesiras Nefesh, the Torah itself, we can put this into the pasuk, Eidus Hashem Nemona Machkinas Pesi, which means that one of the names of the Torah is it's a testimony. The Torah is called testimony. Eidus. Eidus is when a witness comes and says testimony. What is the Torah testimony? The Torah says testimony on its own truth. The Torah is a testimony of the truth of itself. Eidus Hashem Nemona Machkinas Pesi. You see the wisdom of the Torah and the exactitude. The Torah itself announces its truthness. It testifies to its own truth. That's one clue. You know that it's famous, the Yerushalyim, it's very interesting. The parasha which we read always 2 Shabbos before Schmooz, the HaKodesh. It's very interesting. When we talk about the Gemara, it says, we read, there's a common denominator twice in between Rosh Hashanah and Shavuot. What's the common denominator? You can see it in the Parsha Shvuot, but we have to explain it. How many times do we have a parsha in the Torah that predicts that if you keep the Torah, Hashem will give blessings, and if you don't keep the Torah says enormous punishments, and the Torah predicts that we'll go into Golus and we won't stay in Eretz Yisrael. How many times is this written in the written Torah? Not in the Navi, in the Torah. How many parshas what we call Teichacha? You know where we have it? Once here, and once at the end of Dvorim. Kisov, Parshas Kisov. Once Kisavai, and once Bechukaisai. And the Gemara says that we read 2 Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah. Always the Chacham picks to read the Parsha Kisavai, the Teichacha. And 2 weeks before Shavuot, one reads the Parsha Bechukaisai. It says because before it's a simon, before the Chag, before the Din. So the Gemara asks, Rosh Hashanah is a Din, there's a judgment. The Gemara gives it reason like this. Tichle Shana Diklaloteha, that the year should end with its curses and should begin a new year of blessings. So the Gemara asks, Rosh Hashanah we all know is a Din. But what's the Din on Shavuot? It says as well, on Shavuot, the fruit, there's a Din on Peira Se'ila, the fruit of the trees. Right? But there's also a Din on Pesach, and we don't read before Pesach. And there's also a Din on Sukkot, so we don't read separately. Why suddenly Shavuot? But now, so this Gemara really needs an explanation. What's the specialty of this Din on Shavuot that we have a parsha of Klolis just like before Rosh Hashanah? Interesting.
Curse.
And of curses. But, you know, which day of creation? Rosh Hashanah is the first day of Tishrei. What happened on Rosh Hashanah? Where is Rosh Hashanah? Where's there a pasuk, a word in the Torah that's talking about Rosh Hashanah? Who was created on Rosh Hashanah? Do you know? Rosh Hashanah is the day of the creation of Adam Harishon. When Adam Harishon was created, he made Hashem a king. And this is hinted. The Adam Harishon was created in which day of creation? The 6th day. And what's the shear of the 6th day on Yom Shishi? What's the shear? How does it begin? Hashem Molech. Hashem became a king. Hashem Molech Yesh L'Rish. And what is our avodah on Rosh Hashanah? To make Hashem a king. in Milfarei Malchis. Which day is Rosh Hashanah the Torah? It says in the Torah, Va'erev v'hiboiker yoim hashishi. And come the Chachamim, and they say, it doesn't say yoim hasheni with a hey, yom hashlishi. Va'erev v'hiboiker yoim hashishi. Why does it say a hey? This is also Gemara in Avodah Zarah. Yoim hashishi. What's the hey? Hashishi. Because Hashem made a condition with His creation. And the creation was not yet completed when He completed the creation because the creation was dependent. The purpose of creation was the receiving of the Torah. If Am Yisrael will accept the Torah, then the creation will become complete. And if Am Yisrael will not accept the Torah, He will return the whole world to Tayu Bavayu, to emptiness. So when was the completion of the world? When it came the day of Matan Torah, and Am Yisrael agreed to receive the Torah. And that's Hashishi, is a remez, is a hint to the 6th day of Nisan. Vahi Erev, Vahi Boike, Yom Hashishi. Hashishi is the 6th day of Nisan. That's when, and then of Sivan. And that's Vayichulu Hashemayim Ba'aretz, and that's when the Shemayim Ba'aretz actually became complete. Not the 6th day, not the 1st day of Tishrei and the 6th day of creation, but the 6th day of Nisan. Of Sivan. But here we have a Hekesh. Hashishi in the Pshat is talking about Rosh Hashanah. And Hashishi in the Drash is talking about Matan Torah. And here the Drash of Chazal from the Hay, the Torah has put together in one word Shvuot and Rosh Hashanah. And here we see that the Chachamim express this in the halacha. Because every year the world, I guess there's Madregis and Hashem being connected with the world. That every year on Shvuot we re-accept the Torah. Kabbalas HaTorah is not a historical event that happened 2,000 years ago and that's it. Like we make the bracha on Torah in the present tense. We don't say Baruch Atah Hashem Nosan HaTorah, or like when you get an Aliyah, Baruch Atah Hashem Noisein HaTorah. And it's a constant giving, and especially it's renewed the giving on Shavuot. And there's a din on that Shavuot, on every individual person as well. What will be his connection with the Torah in the future year? And it's like at the time that the world depended on the acceptance of the Torah, so the blessing and the relationship of Hashem to this world depends as well. Every year we have Kabbalas HaTorah. And our Kabbalas HaTorah, how we receive the Torah with love and how we're related to the Torah, this influences the blessing that Hashem sends to the world. So there is a renewal, a spiritual perhaps we can say, like there's a renewal of the world on Rosh Hashanah, and because there's a renewal of the world, automatically when Hashem renews the world, that's din. Because everything Hashem does is with din. That's the din, that's judgment. How He's going to renew the world. Since the renewal of the world is dependent on accepting of the Torah, so there's a renewal of the world as well on Shavuot. And on that, Memela, there's also a din. So we read Teichachot to express again the same idea. Depending on how we will receive the Torah, we can create a new shefa, a new sending out of bracha from Hashem to this world. Shvuot has in it this concept of tochel, that the year should finish of its klalot and should begin a year of brachot. So we have to know that it's a day of judgment. It's a day of happiness and it's a day of judgment. But the first judgment, which is I think connected, here I'd like to say just 2 points in connection with receiving the Torah. The first one is, and that's the whole Sfira Sa'ima is this, the relationship of a person to the Torah is according to how much he values the Torah. How much does he value the Torah? You see, David HaMelech, he valued the Torah so much that he said, Toivli Torahs Picha Me'alfei Zov Kesef. 99.9% of the world, and I'm talking, let's say, even Acharedim, they are ready to trade Torah for Alfei Zov Kesef. A lot of people that could have become Talmidei, I don't want to be Mekatik, Chas v'Shalom Klal Yisrael. They could have become Talmidei Chachamim Uflogim, but the Alfei Zov Kesef brought them, chased them out of the Beis Medrash. So the first step, the step to Torah is how much a person values Torah. V'leiv kol chacham leiv masati chacham. If a person thinks to himself that Alfei Zov Kesef is very good, but what does it give me? It gives me perhaps an imaginary pleasure in this world, of feeling good. But this world is temporary. And a Jew believes that he's only an oreach, a temporary guest in this world. His neshama was created at the time of Ma'aseh Bereishis, and his neshama has a continuation after it leaves the guf. The guf is only like a clothes, like a suit. And what does the neshama take with it to the next world? It says that the mitzvah of limudat Torah, the study of Torah, is even greater than all the mitzvahs. Of course, there's a condition that a person has to fulfill the mitzvahs, otherwise the study of Torah is not connected to him. But Chazal say, Kol ha-mitzvahs, kol chafatzecha lo yishvu ba. What's all your objects? David HaMelech said. What are the objects of Hashem? The mitzvahs, not chafatzim. Kol even the mitzvahs, kol ha-mitzvahs, einam shavais. They don't equal to the one word of Torah. And that's what we have in the Siddur. Talmud Torah Keneged Kula. So a person has to know and value. This is the second idea. He has to be happy to have the opportunity to study Torah and to value every minute that he can think in Torah. Because Torah is different than all the mitzvahs, is that the Torah is 24 hours a day. And if a person, in every spare minute that he doesn't have to do other things, he's learning Torah, then even when he's not learning Torah, because the things that he has to do, if his mind is that he, as soon as he's free, he's going to study Torah, then everything he does is called Torah. And then everything is considered Torah. And that's connected with the first pasuk of this week's parasha as well. In the chukaisai teilechu, the mitzvaisai tishpru, then everything you do, vasisa maisam, everything a person does is Torah. Everything a person does, it's like he's serving Hashem. If a person thinks, I have to eat, I have to, how do you say, a healthy mind and a healthy body, like the expression. If I want to study Torah, but if I won't take care of my body, I won't have a healthy body, so I won't have a healthy mind. So he eats because he can study Torah. He sleeps that he should have an alert mind to study Torah. Then everything he does is also included in the study of Torah. Has the madrega has the level of Torah. So one has to value Torah, and one has to value the opportunity. That one has the opportunity to learn, the mind to learn. One has to thank Hashem. It says that the first temple was destroyed because Vaybochu b'Torah tchila. Vaybochu b'Torah tchila means that because they didn't, but it doesn't mean they didn't make a bracha. Of course they made a bracha before learning, but they didn't make the bracha with the full heart. They didn't have the appreciation. They didn't appreciate the gift of the Torah. And that's the whole holiday of Shavuot is really a holiday of saying Birchas HaTorah, of thanking Hashem for the Torah. And a person can be here, l'mashal, here in Tsama Nafshi, in the middle of life, towards the middle age, and can be here sitting and have an opportunity to learn in the Yeshiva. That's an unbelievable gift of Hashem. If you can come here in the Yeshiva, in the atmosphere of the Yeshiva, and learn something, you have to know to value it. And the more you value it, the more you have a vessel to receive the Torah. And this is the preparation for Shavuot. The more value you give to Torah, the more Hashem will give you the opportunity to learn Torah. The more a person wants Torah, from Shemayim they give him Torah. The preparation for Torah is how much you value the opportunity of studying Torah in your life. And how much you thank Hashem and have simcha to study it. These are the preparations for the holiday of Shavuot. Because that's what Shavuot is. Shavuot is a Yom Sameach, it's Yontif. What's the simcha? It's the simcha of having received the Torah. It's the appreciation of Torah. And according to that, how much a person wants Torah is a din in Shemayim, And that's the remez. And the din of Shemayim, how much Torah to get. And according to how much Torah he gets, that's Tochel, that's this week's parasha before, always 2 Shabbatot before Shvuot, which is symbolic of the Hashem says there's an opportunity here to stop the curses of the year and to create new blessings for the year. In other words, Shvuot is like a renewal of the year. It's a Rosh Hashanah. It's also a Rosh Hashanah in the middle of the year.